Many of you are familiar with the core functions in the Stream Deck for controlling OBS Studio. We can control scenes and call them up. We can use the mixer audio function to disable or enable audio from our various sources. Of course, we can toggle recording off and on as well as streaming. And we also can turn our sources off and on simply by selecting them. But there are so many more functions the Stream Deck can control within OBS Studio. So whether you're using OBS for streaming or recording, you can really level up the production quality. Let's check it out. To take advantage of advanced control in the Stream Deck for OBS Studio, we need to install a plugin in OBS as well as on the Stream Deck and tweak a couple of settings. And before we get advanced control installed on the Stream Deck, I just want to remind you about my podcast package giveaway. I'm giving away an Audio-Technica AT2040 broadcast dynamic microphone with a Focusrite Scarlett 4i4 audio interface and an XLR cable. There are 3 videos participating in this giveaway. They're linked in the pinned comment below. Check those out for details on the giveaway. So the first thing we need to do is download and install OBS WebSocket if you don't already have it. Okay, so from a browser, what we need to do is search for OBS WebSocket and we'll find the OBS project plugin. We go to that page and we simply want to go to the download. And if we scroll down this page, you'll find the files that are needed. Now, this demonstration is going to be using Windows, but this also works on Mac and on Linux. So we'll go ahead and do Windows. I'm going to simply download the installer. So we'll go ahead and get that done. And now that it's complete, we'll go ahead and open up the installer. Accept the license agreement. And we're done. Now that the installation's complete, we'll go ahead into OBS Studio and we'll configure WebSockets. And I'll also show you how to enable replay buffer for those that want to use the instant replay function with the advanced control in the Stream Deck. So now I've opened up OBS Studio, and what I'm going to do is go to the Tools menu and I'll select the new WebSockets server settings. Now in here you'll see the Enable button will be checked. When you first start this up, you may actually get a prompt from OBS asking you if you want to set a password, and that's fine. You can choose yes with that too. But I've gone in here through the menu, and so it will be enabled. There's no need to change the server port, but what we do want to do is set up a password. So simply go ahead into here and enter a password and press OK. The next step is optional and only required if you want to use the instant replay feature with the advanced OBS controls on the Stream Deck. So once again in OBS, we'll go to the File menu and we'll choose Settings. And from there, we'll go to the Output tab and the Replay Buffer tab. And all you need to do here is click Enable Replay Buffer. And you can choose the amount of time. I recommend you leave it at 20 seconds to start with. And then go ahead and click Apply and OK. So now we've got OBS Studio set up. Let's go ahead and get the Stream Deck ready. Now I've opened up the Stream Deck control, and I've went ahead and left the initial 5 functions that are built into the defaults or the core functions in the Stream Deck here, just for reference. What we need to do now is install a plugin. So we'll go ahead to the menu, choose Plugins, and in here we're going to type in OBS, and Tools will come up right away. And these are tools by Barrator. So we want to go ahead and install this. So I'm going to go Install. And this will go ahead and download and install the plugin. As you see, it's really fast. We can go ahead and close this. And once that's done, when we scroll down to the bottom, we'll see the OBS Tools Barrator has been opened up here, and it includes a lot of new functions that we can use. So now that we have OBS Studio and the Stream Deck configured for advanced control, I'll show you a few of the great functions that are included with this package. So in the Stream Deck, we'll go ahead and add up a few of these features. Just to start out with something basic, I'll move the CPU usage over onto a button in the Stream Deck. And you'll see that for the first time, it's going to ask you to link the Stream Deck to OBS Studio for these functions. So you just click Link. Then you go ahead and you don't need to change your IP address or your port unless you've made some configuration changes in OBS. But you do need to get your password in here. And after you've clicked Save, you'll see the plugin configured message, and we're ready to go. So I'll close out of that. And now that that's done, I'll just go ahead and maximize this. My CPU usage is very low. I'm running on an i9-5900X, but you will see a graph appear here if you in fact are using any significant amount of CPU. This is really useful if you're doing a one-stream PC setup, game and stream all in one. So that's the CPU usage. We can do the same thing with drop frames. I'll just drag it over here. And really what we need to do is configure if we want dropped frames, output skip frames, or render miss frames. And again, this will just give you a counter as to how many. I'm not dropping any frames, but again, I'm not streaming right now, and I'm not running a game in the background. But this is another useful thing to have if you want to keep control over the performance during streams. And there's a few other things that are like that as well that you can set up for informational purposes. But what we'll do is now we'll take a look at some of the advanced functions. So the first thing I'll do is I'll set up the studio mode toggle. So we'll just go here and find studio mode toggle. I'll bring that in. I'll set it up off to the side here. And we can title these, of course, as with anything. But all we need to do now is press that button. And what will happen is you'll see OBS Studio has switched to studio mode with the preview and program versus having just the regular live mode. So that's something, again, that you can go ahead and easily switch back and forth if you find the need. You don't always maybe want to have this on there. So we have that. Now that we have the toggle set up and we're in studio mode, I'll show you the Smart Scene Switcher. So I'll go ahead and drag that in here as well to set up. Now we already have scenes in the core function of the Stream Deck, but that just allows us to switch from one to the other. We typically will assign an icon or a number to it so we know what camera it is. But the Smart Scene Switcher is one step further. So what we'll do is go ahead, I'll choose the scene, and in this case I'm just going to choose my full screen. So we have that. And then what I'll do is go down a little further. You'll see this override transition. We can select that. We also can have preview colors to just help us highlight what's what. What I like to do is use this preview scene. So when I select that, you'll see that actually a preview of the scene has shown up on the button of the Stream Deck. And this is really an amazing feature. Essentially, it adds a bunch of individual little monitors to your Stream Deck. So instead of having to use an icon and name this, you can actually have a picture in the background so you can see exactly what you switch to. So now I'll go ahead and I'll press that new button. And what it's done is it's brought that camera into the preview on the studio. Now, if we were using this in live mode, it would switch immediately. But because I'm here in the preview, it's now brought it up. So I can go ahead and just move that over. I'll click transition quickly and it puts it into the main screen. But again, the real advantage here is that we get that image on the icon instead of having to use just a generic icon or a number. And another feature I really like is the media integration with Video Player. Okay, so to get that going, we'll drag Video Player up here onto one of the buttons. And from here, we need to choose a media source. I'm going to choose one that I know I have set up, media source. And then we just assign whatever file we want it to be. And we can change this all the time. I'll just choose this audio interview file. And there are other things we can set up here. You can have it muted if you like, which is useful if it has audio that you don't want overlaid in your stream. You can also have the duration set up for how long you want it to play. And you can change the speed, which is really good if you want to add up some slow-mo or really fast effects. So now that I have that button set up, I'll go ahead and press it and let you see what happens. So as soon as I press it, you'll see it's shown up in the corner of the screen here. Now, I haven't changed the speed and I've left the duration at 20 seconds, but you get the idea. You can embed media and bring it up with duration and speed control. Another feature I really like is the filter toggle. You can actually toggle a filter, an individual filter, on or off for any source. So to do that, all we need to do is drag filter toggle over onto a button. I'll do that. We can, of course, give it a title, but what I'm going to do here is choose a source name. I'll use the source that's connected to my CamLink Pro. I'll use 1 here, and the filter name I'll choose is the Borg. So now I have that set up. So if you're on that scene and all of a sudden you decide that you want to be assimilated by the Borg, you just press the button and it'll go ahead and activate that filter. Now there's so many options for this. I think you can imagine what you could do, and this applies not only to video but to audio as well. And there are just too many great functions here for me to show you all of them. You have a button that allows you to switch back and forth between a previous scene. So if you just want to toggle between two, you can go back and forth. You can, of course, control live instant replay on your Stream Deck with this. You can also control another streaming PC. So if you're using a 2-PC setup and you have the Stream Deck hooked up to the PC that isn't streaming because you want to use it for game control, for example, then what you can do is actually control that PC remotely and take advantage of the Stream Deck even though it's not plugged into your second PC. And with Twitch integration, browser sources, and more, the creative opportunities for this advanced OBS control are just about endless. I hope you found this video interesting and enjoyable. If you did, think about subscribing and smashing that like button, or check out one of the videos or playlists on the screen now. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.